Welcome back. You are listening to the Labor Forum here at WRFG 89.3 FM, your progressive station for hand-picked quality music. And the best people in town come on this program to talk about what's going on. And so today, I'm so happy that we have three guests in the studio. Now, Randy Beall has been here before, and he is with the Atlanta and North Georgia Building Trades and Construction Council. And Randy actually is who helped initiate the Fourth Monday series that we've been doing now since January, where we've been able to have members of the unions talk about their apprenticeship programs. So far we've had, I hope I can remember them all, we've had IBEW, operating engineers, iron workers, and laborers. And today we really are going to talk with Randy and two of the community partners that are working with the Building Trades Council to ensure that sort of like underserved, we'll talk about communities that for the most part haven't had the opportunity to get into these trades and have a good union job with benefits. And so we have two other guests besides Randy. We have Hutch, that's his last name. I'm going to say his whole name, even though he's told me not to. Demetrius Hutchinson. And he is with an organization called Youthbuild, which is with the city of Atlanta. And then we also have John Moy, who is with the Urban League of Greater Atlanta. And they both have programs that the building trades are working with to do this outreach. And so we're going to hear in the next 50 minutes exactly about how all that is working. So, welcome you all.
Thanks, Diane.
Thank you.
To the Labor
Thank
Forum.
you very much.
And you know what I forgot to do at the very beginning? I forgot to say hello to our engineer, without which this program would not be going to your ears wherever you're listening to it. So Calvin Ivey, retired truck driver, and esteemed volunteer here at WRFG is our engineer. Hey, Calvin.
I appreciate the love, Diane.
And this program is being videoed today, and so will later be available on the Labor Forum website. So our esteemed, I'm gonna use that word again, our esteemed videographer, Ozzy Ibrahimi, is here in the studio too today. Hey, Ozzy.
Hello.
All right, so now we can start, now that we've done all the hellos to everybody. And well, hello to Dawn. I hope you're feeling better. All right, so let's start with Randy giving us a kind of overview as to how it is it came about that the Building Trades Council really launched a very intensive effort to bring knowledge and participation in these, I think there's like 19 unions in the Building Trades Council.
14.
14, wrong number.
19 affiliates, 14 different unions.
Okay, then, thank you. I knew the 19 came from somewhere. Who all have apprenticeship programs in their skilled trades. And so tell us about how this idea, and also, again, we thank you for approaching the Labor Forum at WRFG so that we can have this program. Go ahead.
Yeah, Diane, thank you. First of all, thanks to the radio station WRFG and you for allowing us to come on the fourth Monday of every month and share our message about the apprenticeship programs. When I became the business manager of the building trades back in October of 16, part of those duties that came with that was running a charitable organization called the Building Trades Academy. And it is a training organization, and it was really dormant. It really wasn't doing anything. And once I figured out what the need was, I decided to take the program into an area where it had not been, and that was to do some training within the communities. I reached out to Urban League of Atlanta, Atlanta Youthbuild, and started there really. I built a program, I built a curricula, about 10 hours of training, went into those organizations, and we started training adults and youth in those organizations about opportunities in the building trades. And from there we built other alliances and community partners, Champions in the Making, 3 Essentials, International Rescue Committee, and there are 4 other Youthbuild programs. So we continually look for partners to help lift up those in the minority communities, those that are underserved, those that might not have thought there was a great career with great pay out there. I just really feel incumbent to show them there's a path to create a good career for themselves.
Okay, so two of your partners are here in the room. Could you talk about, so this started in 2016, and here it is 2019. Before we get to Hutch and John, could we maybe hear just a little bit more about your sense of the progress, and maybe some of the places, the high schools, the communities where you personally have gone?
Sure. Well, the first thing that had to be done was to develop a curriculum, and that took me. I built about a 500-page PowerPoint to present, which doesn't happen overnight. So I broke down the 14 trades that we represent in a very intensive course, and even teaching some mathematics in that. There's some mathematics that I go over, and how to read a tape measure, just anything pertaining to construction. And so once we got the curriculum built, I did that actually over a Thanksgiving week on a vacation, if that's you want to call that a vacation. But got most of it knocked out, and then we started approaching partners in 2017, really, and it's been tremendous. And so we'll do a class. We did a class just recently with both of these terrific partners that I sit here with today. We just had a graduation with Atlanta Youthbuild that I spoke at. There was 20 individuals that graduated that program. Hutch can give you exactly how many came into our trades and have already started work. We did a class the week before that with Atlanta Urban League of Greater Atlanta, and there was 20 in that class. I know several of those have gone to work. So I don't know, to date we've probably put on, with just these two organizations, maybe 6 to 8 classes. Out of that, if I had to put a number on it, maybe 30 people, 35 have went to work in a trade in the apprenticeship.
All right, so what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and move to Hutch, who's sitting in the middle and is with Youthbuild. Perhaps you could describe to our listeners exactly what that organization is and does, how long it's been around, how people can get engaged, those kinds of questions.
Sure. Well, Youthbuild is a national program, and it's been around, I want to say, about 40 years now. Our particular program with the city of Atlanta, we've been down there for several years now. I want to say we came down to the city of Atlanta maybe back in '08, just as partners, originally moving out of the city of Cobb County. But ever since then, during the partnership, then we turned over and just decided we'll stay down in Atlanta because we saw that there was a major need there down in Atlanta. Our program is what we call a pre-apprenticeship program, and Youthbuild's internationally is a pre-apprenticeship program for the construction trades. Pre-apprenticeships, basically we groom young people to enter into the apprenticeships themselves, the ones that Randy here is speaking about. The ages of our students are 16 to 24 years old, and they're city of Atlanta residents mainly. But as Randy stated, we have 5 Youthbuild programs throughout Georgia. We form what is called the Metro Atlanta Youthbuild Collaborative, and that consists of all of the 5 programs working together. So we, are not bumping heads or in any type of competition with one another. We all work together. Our program, along with the other 4, the names are Chris 180. Then there's the Urban League. Then there's Heart of the Community. Then there is Future Seekers, and then there's the one that I'm from, which is with the city of Atlanta, and we're called Youthbuild Atlanta.
Okay, so let me ask a further question. So you said it's like a pre-apprenticeship program. So what does that exactly mean?
Okay, pre-apprenticeship. There's things that we sort of look for in our students. So what I mean by that is we train them with the soft skills as well as the hands-on training. So it's all about aptitude and attitude. When it comes down to, aptitude, like, can you be taught to read a tape measure? Can you be taught to do pre-algebra or algebra? Can you work with your hands and your mind at the same time? And then when it comes down to the softer skills, are you going to show up every day and show up every day on time. Our motto at Youthbuild Atlanta is early is on time is late. So things of that nature. You know, can you work with a team? You know, are you going to be that individual who does not like or can't take constructive criticism? Will you be a leader? Will you be the guy who looking at your phone while instructions is being given out, or while everyone else is working? Things of that nature. Because that there tells us whether they're a good fit for the apprenticeship programs, which is a step up. Because if you can't make it through a pre-apprenticeship, then there's no way that you're going to make it through an apprenticeship.
And Diane, I would add that when you go to their facility, not only do they have classroom setting, but they have a shop. You know, Hutch is showing them how to do carpentry. They're building a mock house at a very small scale. They'll do the electrical wiring. They do some roofing. They do painting. And then they also go into the community and rebuild homes for folks. And when you look at what they've done, they've transformed some homes. So you know, Hutch is playing his knowledge down a little bit over here. He really does show these young people a very necessary skill, and he gets their feet wet, if you will, in construction. So they're doing it in house, and it's terrific what they're doing.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you. Yeah, that is a big part of what we do because we also are an AmeriCorps program where our students put in time working throughout the community and they earn scholarships. So that's a great thing that also helps motivate our students, you know. But our partnership with the Randy Beall and the Building Trades Academy has just been awesome for the individuals because we get the opportunity to go out on tours and then they are more enlightened as to what actually takes place because from the beginning we get a lot of individuals that are interested in construction. You know, I may ask 30 young people, do you know someone who's in construction? And out of the 30, maybe 5 hands will go up, and then when I ask the question, well, do you know what specifically is that this individual that you know in construction does? And they'll just tell you, no, I just know that they're in construction. Mm-hmm. So the average person thinks that when they ride past a high rise that's being built or a house that's being rehabbed or from the ground up, that everyone out there is doing the same job, but it's not. And so it's pretty fascinating to, you know, see the young minds open up and, you know, get exposed to these various trades.
Could you say a little more about team building, because that certainly gets to the heart of what a union's about in terms of people working together collectively? Oh
yeah, the team building aspect is very powerful in our program. When we start out our program, we have what is called mental toughness, and when we first set out, we'll say we're going to take 32 students, and we may have about 60 that show up at the door. Right off of the first week, you have individuals that just drop themselves out of the program because our mental toughness is so much team building in it that it takes a lot of them out of their comfort zone. And when we speak about team building, we're talking about being able to, you know, get along with individuals from diverse backgrounds, being able to, you know, resolve conflict, being able to, you know, again, step outside of your comfort zone. Being a team leader is definitely big with our team building because, you know, like we'll give a simple task maybe for 5 individuals to do, and we're looking for someone to step up to the plate and be that individual to say, hey, this is how we should start. But we're not going to give them that information and say, hey, one of you be the leader, you know, because those leaders just emerge out of the program and out of the groups within themselves. So I think I explained it. I hope.
Yeah, no, that's great. How long does the program last?
Our program is a 10-month program, and we accept individuals with or without their high school diplomas, because the ones that come in without their high school diplomas, we have another facet to our program, which is working on the GED. So if an individual enters into the program without their GED, they'll be placed on a rotating schedule for the 10 months. So 1 week academic, working on their GED, and the following week they're doing the construction training. Now, as we all know, the GED is not an easy task to do. But we have a great teacher down there named Mr. Kabir, who helps individuals accomplish that goal. If an individual comes into the program and they accomplish the GED, let's say 3, 4, 6 months, time, then the rest of the time they'll spend full-time construction. So throughout that time, we have individuals who already enter into the program with their high school diplomas. They'll just start off with me and just do full-time construction. Every Friday, by the way, we do what is called leadership development, and that is, helping students get set up with things like bank accounts, teaching them how to manage their money, teaching them how to save up for vehicles, because we know within the construction industry, you may be in Atlanta one day, but then you may be in Lawrenceville the next day, so, things of that nature with the leadership development are very important.
Okay, I'm going to bring John Moy into the conversation now. So John, can you talk to us a little bit about the Urban Leagues program?
Sure, really. First of all, we certainly want to thank Randy really for his leadership. Nancy Flake Johnson, who is our president and CEO, really has formed a great partnership with the Georgia Building Trades Academy and sort of asked me to sort of take on this project. So for us, it's really about, our motto at the Urban League is really, empowering communities and changing lives. And for us, there's nothing better in terms of doing that but by helping people be able to have good paying, sustainable wages so that they can provide for their families. And I talk to people all the time, and particularly people who come to Atlanta, and I say, well, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is that we had 100,000 people come last year. The bad is that we're going to have 100,000 come this year. And the ugly is that we're going to have 100,000 people come next year. So what does that mean? That means that Atlanta right now in the state of Georgia is booming. And that means that people are coming. But what does that mean? That means that the cost of living is what? It's increasing exponentially. And people need good paying jobs in order to meet those challenges, to provide for basic needs. So studies show that for a family of 3, particularly in the Atlanta metropolitan area, that you need on average $28 an hour to sustain yourself, $28 an hour. We know that the minimum wage here in Georgia is a little over $5 an hour. Am I right, Randy?
Yes, that's right.
That's the state minimum. So that's clearly is not enough to get our folks to where they are. But what we do know is that by partnering with the Georgia Building Trades Academy, by getting our folks into skilled trades, this is a way to get folks into the middle class. I was with Randy a couple of weeks ago at our last program, and Randy had a gentleman who was an electrician from the IBEW, and he told me, he said, look, he's on average you can do anywhere between $40 to $70 an hour. I mean, those are serious money. I have 5 kids. If my wife is listening, we're almost going broke with college. But I mean, these are good paying jobs, and so it's good for us. Similar to my friend here at the building at the Youthbuild. So for us, it's about taking people. We tell anybody you don't need experience doing that because we're gonna train you. But I can tell you this: but before we send them to Randy, we also have a tremendous amount of training in terms of soft skills training. We want to make sure that people are up to it in terms of that aptitude. And I think this brother said attitude. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Aptitude and attitude. He's absolutely correct. And a strong work ethic. I mean, I know that for any organization, particularly for construction firms, I believe most start at 7 o'clock in the morning. Am I right, Randy?
Yeah, 6.
6 o'clock, right?
Yep.
Wow. Right, 6 o'clock in the morning. So, but that means you have to, you can't show up at 6 o'clock. You have to be ready to go, 5:30, 5:45. That means you have to get up on time, do what you have to do in order to provide for your family. So this has been a boon for us, particularly at the Urban League. Certainly under Ms. Johnson's leadership and Randy's leadership, we've made great headway there. And so I'm really excited about this program.
Okay, wow. This is really exciting, isn't it? So there are any number of articles that I have read in the newspaper, which is speaking about the shortage of skilled labor, and the fact that many of the people who are currently holding these jobs are probably maybe in their 50s and 60s and approaching retirement. So I'm going to assume that that is one of the impetuses as well for this outreach program, that in fact with the building trades, in order to make sure that the safety that is part of a building by union workers is kept up, And so that more and more low wage, I don't know, maybe fly by night isn't a right thing, but people who aren't committed and have a reputation for building right and building safe are still the ones that do most of the work, certainly on big buildings and public buildings here in Atlanta. And we certainly need to expand that, because there are any number of reports all the time about the shoddy work that's done on some of these housing builds that get done, where people find out that their house was built on shifting soil and all kinds of, I don't know, stuff. And then the foundation cracks, and then the builder says, "So sad, too bad."
Right.
So, so could we talk a little bit more, all three of you, whichever one wants to jump in, about I'm going to use the word the social impact. We've talked about the economic impact of what it would be to be a skilled trade union member. But if we could talk a little bit about the social impact, what it means. Go ahead, John.
Could I take the one? Particularly for us in the Urban League, where we are certainly on the ground here in Atlanta, and certainly with regentrification in the city, and a lot of many other in terms of pressures, in terms of people economically, the social impact is unbelievable. And so for us particularly, I have had sort of a passion, particularly to get women into construction, because many women, particularly in communities of color, certainly raising children by themselves. So I can't tell you that, for a mom, for a family of two, maybe she's working, at a low wage job, but to be able to go to increase those numbers exponentially, 10, 20, 30, $40 an hour. I mean, that's a life changer. I mean, that's a game changer in terms of just, the dignity of work and be able to provide for your children. So it's a tremendous social impact in terms of, which can also lead to home ownership, right? I mean, if you're earning $30, $40 an hour, guess what, Randy? Guess what? Hutch, you can buy a house. You can own a piece of the American dream. People make that, I know some people have questions about that, but at the end of the day, for the average person, home ownership is huge. Where else can you buy something that's an appreciating asset? So for us at the Urban League, as we would say in other places, it's a beautiful thing that we can help our people in terms of getting into these programs.
Anybody else want to throw down on
Yeah,
that question?
Diane, I'll jump in, and I think that our goal for all of us at this table, and probably everybody in this room, is to leave a lasting impact. And how do we do that? It's real easy just to go to work every day, cash your check, and go home and be with yours. But does that really move the needle? It really doesn't. And so, it means something to me to get engaged into the community, to figure out how to lift people up that maybe didn't think that there was a way to be lifted up. I left out one of the partners I'm very proud to work with is juvenile justice, and to be able to go into a juvenile facility and let those young people know that when they leave there, they can enter a career that doesn't care what they did in the past. Let's talk about what they can do in the future. Those are lasting impacts, right? Those are the things that are going to last. And as far as the social, part of it, I had to ask myself, why recruit? Why do we do what we do? And you're right, it is an aging workforce. It is, the unions were once looked at as country clubs, right? I mean, my daddy was a union sheet metal worker, so I'm a union sheet metal worker. I'm a white male, so I could get in, right? And that's not the way that it has to be. And we're open to anybody and everybody, to females. I love it when we have females in the class. My sister-in-law is a union sheet metal worker. So, we want to be accepting of all of everybody. If they can do construction work, we want them. And that's the things that make the lasting impact. And it's not just financial. Let's think about benefits and insurance. My son went through cancer and went through treatments. There's no way we could have paid those bills. We'd have done what we had to do. But, with the insurance that we enjoy in the union, we was able to see that treatment through. He's fine today and all those things. But those are the things. It's the brotherhood and the sisterhood. It's when someone gets hurt and we gather around each other on the job. Those are the lasting moments. Those are the things that are going to last forever. That's what unionism is to me. And that's what these community partners do. They may not call themselves unions, but they are. They are helping the brothers and sisters out. And that's why I think this is a great partnership.
Oh, it is. I would just like to piggyback, there's so many great things that happen within programs and partnerships like these. Like, for example, we have one young man that just recently graduated our program. His name is Raekwon Smith, and he's entered into the International Operative Plasterers and Cement Masons, and he's been doing great things just for the last couple of months. And as I said, he was accepted into it just before graduation, and it was like every time he would even go to speak about it, you would see he would get so emotional about it because he was so excited because he's had background issues. He's a young man. He made a mistake in the past, but now he sees a brighter light at the end of the tunnel. So things like that are what go on through these type of partnerships. And then I have another young man named Monty Carter. And he did phenomenal things throughout the program. He became like everybody's big brother. He was like my assistant. We even named a new award after this young man, and he went into the IBW. But before that program, before entering into Youthbuild Atlanta, he never knew of such a thing. He knew he wanted to be an electrician, but when I started speaking to him about the IBEW, he was like, well, what is that? And then, Randy coming down and doing the class, it was like, this young man was just like in awe of it all. And he's now part of the IBW, and he calls me every day when he gets off of work, like, Mr. Hutch, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm still at work. He's
I'm
like,
on the radio.
Yeah. So
Zamonte will be a future leader.
Oh, yeah.
In whatever Zamonte does. He's going to be a union electrician, but he will be a leader because that's who he is.
Yes.
And it's not only a part of why he is that way because of who he is, it's because of the training that he received. When he come to them, he was raw, I'm sure, to a point, but he still was driven. And if you show people there's light at the end of the tunnel, and that's not the light of an oncoming train, they will respond. And we just have to show them the path.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because in fact, I sent them home the first 2 days. We sent them home from the program because he wasn't getting with the program. Third day he came back, new person. So yeah, you're right.
Did you have something you wanted to say too,
No,
John?
I it sounds corny, but the organization that Randy represents built this country, and I don't think people really talk about that enough. The middle class in this country is under attack, and we're losing key industries every single year. We only have to pick up the newspaper and to read that. But this is a way to safeguard and to shore up the middle class in this country. And we need the middle class in this country so we can sustain our way of life. So again, I'm on board. I'm preaching to the choir. I know Randy, brother Randy, and but it's a good thing.
So, John, in terms of that middle class and how it's kind of talked about that college is the only route to success, but it's not, and the need for these jobs to be filled.
And let me just add to that. So at the Urban League, I can tell you personally, I have a stack of resumes on my desk right now, of people who graduated from college, and unless it's something specialized, I'm not discouraging people. It's a beautiful thing to go to college, but everyone's not making $1 million. Some people, many college graduates are struggling in terms of trying to find a job, struggling in terms of these huge amounts of debt. And it is an alternative to that. At the end of the day, somebody still has to do roads and bridges and highways and infrastructure. And so I know that all of us, Randy, there's some talk in Washington about hopefully a transportation bill that will be coming down the pike, hopefully soon. But we were in Washington a couple of weeks ago. But to answer your question directly, we need folks in the trades to continue to build this country. Somebody has to build a house, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it's I have a carpenter. My nephew lives in Connecticut. He's a master carpenter. He's doing about $100,000 a year. Literally $100,000 a year. So these are good jobs. You can provide for your family.
I want to address that college question. So I do a lot in the high schools as well. We go out and visit and talk to them as well. And we have done a great job in this country of beating our kids over the head saying college, 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 college. By the way, my son's at college. And anyway, we've done a great job about that. But honestly, you cannot build things with a computer. You can't build them with a smartphone. And unfortunately, there are so many kids that have degrees that are useless today. And it is good to tell them that it's okay. It's all right to work with your hands. It's okay to go out and build something. It's okay to get sweaty and dirty and nasty. It's all right to do those things. There's nothing demeaning about it. In fact, our grandfathers and grandmothers and built this country on that work ethic. So I think it's great for those kids at colleges. My son was not going to be a physical labor person, so college was his route. But for a lot of people out there, I think the schools need to do a better job of explaining that college is not the only option, to answer your question. We need to help enforce that.
So I'm just going to throw down on that because a college, if it is expanding your understanding of the world and giving you an appreciation of all the sciences and arts, is a wonderful human thing. But as somebody who went to college, but then decided, oh, I like it being an auto worker because at the end of the day, when I leave, I know that I helped build something. And when I go out on the street, I see what I built and I see people using what I built. And we say on this program all the time that the working class has their hand in every physical thing that you can touch. It doesn't matter what you eat, whether you're on a bus, sitting at a desk, at a movie theater, every single item there passed through thousands of workers' hands from when it was dug out of the ground, mined and smelted or processed or whatever, transported. It's like the song we start out with. We do the work, and nothing goes anywhere without people doing the work. And so we just saw the Uber and Lyft drivers. One would say, you know, what's about that? But when they didn't turn that app on, and Uber thought they were going to make billions on the sale of their stock on that opening day, they didn't. It tanked.
Right.
And that goes to show that when workers decide, yes, I'm working, then things happen. And when workers decide, no, I'm not, then something is going to change. And that's my speech for the day.
Well, you know, my favorite poster is that one where it says America was just a dream, and then it has, you know, a bunch of variety of construction workers, and it says at the bottom, till we showed up, you know. So I always love that there. But you know, the college aspect, and like Randy just pointed out, we have to do a better job. You know, people need to understand that we are the building trades. We are the other 4-year degree.
There you go.
All right, so we just have a few minutes left, and I hope that everybody's enjoyed this conversation, but I want to absolutely make sure that if there's somebody out there who says, oh, Now, so each one of you, if you wouldn't mind, giving this contact information. So if you have a website, if you have a Facebook, what your social media is, what a telephone number is, and then even maybe even a little bit about what a person absolutely needs to apply. Do they need a driver's license? What kind of ID do they need? What's the issue with any kind of record, immigrant status, those kinds of things, so that all our listeners can see whether or not they've got there's a space for them. So we'll start with Randy and just move on down the line.
So for careers in the building trade, you would go to angbtc.org. That's angbtc.org. Or you can call us at 404-584-0005. 404-584-0005. On our website, you'll find information about all the affiliates of the Atlanta and North Georgia Building Trades. You will also find a trade application on there if you want to fill that out. Pick the union of your choice. When you hit submit, it will go to that union organizer, who will then be back in contact with you about your application. What you need to apply in almost all the unions are be 18 years of age, And that's because construction jobs will not allow you on the job below 18. It's pretty typical. You need to have a driver's license. We need you to be able to drive from job to job, if that be the case. You also would pass a drug test. And then have a GED or a high school diploma. And there is one trade out there that does not require either, that is the millwrights. So if you're an individual who did not get a GED or a high school diploma, your avenue for the building trades is with the millwrights union. So that's really about it, Diane. I mean, honestly, if you can get up and show to work up on time and work hard and just follow direction, you're who we need.
Wow.
Okay, we'll move on to Hutch.
Okay, our information is we are part of the city of this. Let me say that again. I got tongue tied. Our information
And you've been doing so good.
Oh, I know. I had to screw it up somehow, right? But we are part of the city of Atlanta. You can get our information at worksourceatlanta.org. Youthbuild Atlanta phone number is 404-546-3061 or 404-546-3114. Our address is 818 Pollard Boulevard, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, zip code 30315. And again, that website is worksourceatlanta.org. And that's for people who are between the ages of 16 and 24 years old. No high school diploma is required, but again, if you have one, you can still enter or be eligible for the program.
Okay, and John.
Hi, this is John Moise. Our eligibility requirements are really geared for adults, and that's ages 18 and up. Our number is 404-659-1150. That's 404-659-1150. The website is www.ulgatl.org. That's www.ulgatl.org.
And are there any requirements other than being that age? Like driver's license?
Sure, similar to what Randy said, certainly a valid driver's license, so make sure that they can certainly get around. We will also do drug screening to make sure that there aren't any issues there, and we'll check for proficiencies in terms of aptitude. And that's pretty much what the requirements are.
Well, wow. You have one more thing
Yeah,
you
well,
wanna say?
yeah, I just want to say in the building trades, age is never a barrier, other than the minimum age. So real quickly, a friend of mine at 52 years old lost his job. This has been 6-8 years ago at our church, and he wanted to know about getting into the trade. So long story short, Eddie's now 64, has been working in a sheet metal shop for 12 years, and is looking at retirement next year. But the other day, the iron workers told me they took in a person that was 58 into their apprenticeship program. So age is not a barrier. It's really about, can you perform the work?
And I have to say, one of our proudest accomplishments here at the Labor Forum is the person who was listening. I'm not sure how long ago Andrew applied, and he's in the Apprenticeship IBEW program, and now is also part of our broadcast class here at WRFG. So he credits WRFG and the Labor Forum specifically for getting him into that program, and also inspiring his interest in becoming part of the station family. So we are super excited, and so a big shout out to everybody who has joined any one of these programs, and we look forward to seeing your work in the skyline, no matter what job you're doing, what you're building, what you're constructing, what you're helping to do. And we thank you so much for listening today. We will be back again next Monday, which is a holiday for other people, but I don't know. We end up being here lots of holidays. So you all can call us from your picnic or whatever you're doing and give us a shout out, because we'll be here in the studio with some other wonderful guests if we can wrangle them in. So this is Diane saying goodbye, and we'll say goodbye for all our guests, Randy, Hutch, and John, and of course Paul, and Calvin, and Ozzy. We'll be back again next Monday. Thanks so much for tuning in.